A woman in Denver just checked her investment account and saw $103,847. 3 years ago, same account, same monthly deposits, she had $32,000. She posted about it on Reddit with one line: "Why did nobody tell me it works like this?" 847 comments. Half of them said the same thing. Wait until you see what the next $100,000 does. She asked a fair question. Same job, same contributions, same index funds. So why did the money start moving differently? Here's the answer nobody puts on a vision board. There's a specific dollar amount where your net worth stops being a reflection of your paycheck and starts being a reflection of itself. For most people, that number is around $100,000, not $99,000, not six figures eventually. $100,000 in invested assets. And once you cross it, the math of your entire financial life changes. Not because you're suddenly smarter or luckier, but because you finally have enough weight on the scale for compounding to stop being a theory and start being a force. This isn't motivation. This is arithmetic with a body count. Charlie Munger said, "The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it." He wasn't being colorful. He was describing the single most important financial threshold most people will ever cross. This is Fininvest logic, where we break down the financial concepts that separate people who understand money from people who just earn it. Most people think building wealth is linear. You save $10,000 a year. In 10 years, you have $100,000. In 20 years, $200,000. Nice, neat, predictable. That is not how money works. That's how a savings account works. If you bury it in your backyard, here's how invested money actually works. Let's say you invest $10,000 a year at an average 8% return. After year 1, you have $10,800. Fine, boring, whatever. Year 2, you add another $10,000. But now you're earning 8% on $20,800. Not just your new contribution. You end the year with $22,464. Year 3, you add another $10,000, but now you're earning 8% on $22,464. Plus your new $10,000, you end with $35,061. Notice what's happening. Your gains are getting bigger, not because you're contributing more, not because the market's doing anything different, but because the base keeps growing. This is compounding. And for the first few years, it feels like nothing. You're adding $10,000 and the account goes up by like $10,600. Cool, you basically got a Chipotle burrito for your effort. But then something shifts. By year 7, you're adding your $10,000 and the account jumps by $15,000. Wait, you only put in $10,000. Where'd the extra $5,000 come from? It came from the pile. The pile is now working harder than you are. By year 10, you contribute $10,000 and your account grows by $21,000. That market gave you more than double what you gave it. And here's the part that breaks people's brains. From year 10 to year 20, contributing the same $10,000 annually, your net worth goes from $156,000 to $494,000. That's not double. That's more than triple. Same contributions, same market, different math. So, here's the rule. And I mean write this down. Tattoo it somewhere. Make it your Wi-Fi password. After $100,000, your money starts working harder than you do. Let's say you're investing $500 a month, $6,000 a year. At 8% annual returns, it takes you about 11 years to hit $100,000. 11 years of discipline, budgeting, skipping vacations, saying no to things you wanted. It's a grind. But here's what happens next. To get from $100,000 to $200,000 with those same $500 monthly contributions, about 6 years. Wait, that can't be right. It took 11 years to get the first $100,000 and only 6 years to get the second. Correct? And it gets better. $200,000 to $300,000. About 4.5 years. $300,000 to $400,000. Just over 3 years. Same person, same contributions. The timeline compresses because the pile is compounding on itself. At $100,000, an 8% return gives you $8,000 a year, doing absolutely nothing. That's more than your $6,000 in contributions. Your money is now out-earning your effort. At $200,000, the market's giving you $16,000 a year. At $500,000, it's $40,000 a year. This is why the woman in Denver felt like the money moved differently. Because it did. She crossed the threshold where her investments became a larger driver of growth than her paycheck. And once you see it happen in your own account, you can't unsee it. Here's what every financial guru, every Instagram finance bro, every 90-second TikTok has told you. Just start investing early. Time in the market beats timing the market. Consistency is key. All true. All useless if you don't understand the emotional reality of the first $100,000. Because here's what nobody mentions. The first 5 years of investing feel like a scam. You're putting away $500, $1,000, maybe $1,500 a month. Watching your account creep up, and then the market drops 8% and you're back where you were 6 months ago. You did everything right, and you're getting punished for it. This is where most people tap out. They look at their $18,000 account, see it drop to $16,500, and think, what's the point? I'm busting my ass to save, and I'm going backward. So they stop, or they pause, or they pull it out to buy something that feels more real, like a car, or a wedding, or a kitchen remodel. Researchers at Fidelity analyzed over 1.5 million retirement accounts and found that the average account balance for people in their 30s is around $38,000. For people in their 40s, it's $93,000. Notice something. Most people spend an entire decade in their 30s and still don't hit $100,000. There's a couple in Austin. He's a teacher. She's a nurse. Combined income around $110,000. Not rich, not struggling, comfortable. In 2017, they read about the $100,000 threshold and decided to hit it as fast as possible. Not someday. Not when it felt convenient. Fast. They moved to a smaller apartment. Saved $800 a month. They sold one car. Saved another $450 in payments and insurance. They stopped eating out except twice a month. Cancelled subscriptions they forgot they had. Started buying groceries like they were preparing for economic collapse. Their friends thought they were insane. You make 6 figures and you're living like broke college students. Live a little. Here's what their friends didn't see. By 2020, 3 years later, they had $107,000 invested. Then COVID hit, the market dropped, and their account fell to $89,000. Did they panic? No, they kept contributing. By mid-2021, they were at $142,000. And then the compounding machine turned on. By 2023, they had $210,000. By early 2025, $287,000. They're 34 and 36 years old. At their current pace, they'll be millionaires before 45 without increasing contributions by a single dollar. Their friends, the ones who told them to live a little, are still trying to break $50,000 in their retirement accounts. Same age, same city, different finish line. Let's flip it. There's a guy in Seattle. software engineer, made $160,000 a year in his late 20s. Started investing at 26, putting away about $1,000 a month into his 401k. Great start. By 28, he had about $35,000 saved. Then he bought a Tesla. Took out $15,000 for the down payment because, I'm young, I'll make it back by 30. He was back up to $42,000. Then he took a sabbatical to find himself in Southeast Asia for 6 months. Stopped contributing. Came back, had to rebuild his emergency fund. By 32, he had $56,000 invested. Still good, right? He's still ahead of most people. Then he bought a condo, pulled out $25,000 from his brokerage account for closing costs and furniture because it's an investment in real estate. He's now 37. His investment account has $71,000. He's been investing for 11 years and he still hasn't broken $100,000. Meanwhile, his co-worker, who started at the same time making $30,000 less, just crossed $180,000. Why? Because the co-worker never reset the clock. He treated the first $100,000 like the only goal that mattered. No withdrawals, no pauses. No, I'll catch up later. The Seattle guy isn't broke. He has a car and a condo and some savings. But his net worth isn't exploding. It's crawling. And every year he doesn't cross $100,000 is another year he's delaying the compounding acceleration by a full cycle. He's not behind because he's bad with money. He's behind because he didn't understand that every dollar you pull out before $100,000 costs you exponentially more on the back end. That Tesla down payment didn't cost him $15,000. At 8% compounded over 20 years, it cost him $70,000. He bought a car. He just paid for it with his 50-year-old self's retirement. Okay, here's the part that nobody talks about because it sounds too good to be true. The speed at which you hit $100,000 matters more than almost anything else. To people, both invest $500 a month. Both earn 8% average returns. Person A starts at 25. Person B starts at 30. 5-year difference. By 65, Person A has about $1.87 million. Person B has about $1.13 million. That 5-year head start is worth $740,000. Not because Person A contributed way more, they contributed $30,000 more over those 5 years. The extra $740,000 came from those early dollars compounding for decades. But here's the twist. If Person B delays starting by 5 years but then contributes $1,000 a month instead of $500 for the first 10 years to catch up, they end up with $1.96 million. They actually come out ahead. Why? Because they hit $100,000 faster. This is what financial advisors won't tell you because it's not sexy. The real strategy isn't start early. It's get to $100,000 as fast as humanly possible. Then let the math take over. That might mean living with roommates longer than you want. Driving a car that's paid off instead of financed. Taking a side gig you hate for 18 months. Skipping the $8,000 wedding you were planning. It's not forever. It's a sprint. There's a woman in Florida who inherited $95,000 when her grandmother passed in 2019. She was 29. She put it all in a target date retirement fund and kept contributing her normal $300 a month. Within 18 months, she crossed $100,000. By 2023, she had $167,000. By early 2025, $218,000. She's 34 and already has more than double what most people have at retirement. Her cousin inherited the same amount. He bought a boat, and a truck to tow the boat, and insurance for the boat, and dock fees. 3 years later, He sold the boat for $52,000 because he never used it and couldn't afford the upkeep. He took that $52,000 and finally started investing. He's now 35 with $61,000 saved. His cousin has $218,000. Same inheritance, same starting line. One understood the $100,000 threshold. The other one bought a boat. Here's the brutal part. If the cousin had just invested the full $95,000 in 2019 and done nothing else, literally zero additional contributions, he'd have about $140,000 today just from market growth. Instead, he has $61,000 and memories of a boat he used 4 times. You might be thinking, okay, but why $100,000? Why not $50,000 or $150,000? Is this just a round number that sounds good? Fair question. Here's the math. At $50,000 invested earning 8% annually, the market gives you $4,000 a year. If you're contributing $6,000 a year, you're still doing most of the work. Your contributions are 60% of your growth. The market's doing 40%. At $100,000, the market gives you $8,000 a year. If you're still contributing $6,000, the market is now doing 57% of the work. You've crossed the threshold. Your money is working harder than you are. At $150,000, the market's giving you $12,000. Even if you contribute $6,000, the market's doing 67% of the work. So yes, the higher you go, the better it gets. But $100,000 is the inflection point. It's where the curve bends. Here's the part that should terrify you. According to the Federal Reserve's 2022 Survey of Consumer Finances, the median retirement account balance for people aged 35 to 44 is $45,000. The median, that means half of people in their late 30s and early 40s have less than that. These people have been working for 15 to 20 years and they're not even halfway to the threshold. And every year they stay below $100,000 is a year they're missing out on exponential growth. Let's do the sad math. If you're 40 with $45,000 saved and you contribute $500 a month at 8% returns, you'll hit $100,000 at 45. That's good. But if you'd hit $100,000 at 30, you'd have $733,000 by 55. Starting at 45, you'll have $345,000. That's not a small difference. That's nearly $400,000. And here's the thing that makes me want to flip a table. Most of those people aren't failing because they're financially irresponsible. They're failing because nobody explained the $100,000 rule. Nobody told them that the first $100,000 is different. Real quick, because I get asked this constantly, how do you learn to break down financial concepts like this? The research, the structure, the way to make something like compounding interesting instead of just accurate. That's a skill. And it's one we teach step by step inside our community at Fininvest Logic. Quick reality check before this part. I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. This is the framework I genuinely wish someone had handed me at 22 when I thought investing meant putting $50 a month into a savings account and hoping for the best. Step 1. Calculate your actual number. Don't guess. Open every investment account you have. 401k, IRA, brokerage, Roth, all of it. Add it up, not your checking account. Not your emergency fund. Not your home equity. Invested assets only. If that number is below $100,000, congratulations. You now have the single most important financial goal of your life. Get to $100,000. Not $100,000 someday. $100K as fast as possible. Step 2. Reverse engineer your timeline. Use a compound interest calculator. Plug in your current invested amount, how much you can contribute monthly, an 8% average return. It'll spit out a timeline. That's how long until you hit $100,000 at your current pace. Now ask yourself, can I cut that timeline in half? What would it take? An extra $200 a month? $500? A second income stream for 18 months? Selling something you're not using? Moving somewhere cheaper for 2 years? Because if an extra $300 a month cuts your timeline from 8 years to 5 years, that's 3 years of compounding you just bought back. That $300 a month for 5 years is $18,000 out of pocket. But those 3 extra years of compounding on $100,000 at 8% is worth about $26,000 by the time you retire. You're not spending $18,000, you're buying $26,000. Step 3. Treat it like debt. A lot of people can get irrationally aggressive about paying off debt. They'll throw every spare dollar at a car loan or credit card because they hate the feeling of owing money. Flip that energy. Treat the gap between your current number and $100,000 like debt you owe your future self. Step 4. Automate like your life depends on it. If you're manually deciding whether to invest every month, you'll find a reason not to. The car needs new tires. Your friend's getting married. You want to take a trip because you've been stressed. All valid. All compounding killers. Step 5. Stop withdrawing. This one's simple and nobody follows it. If you're below $100,000, your investment accounts are not an ATM. They're not an emergency fund. They're not a down payment fund. Those accounts have one job: grow to $100,000. That's it. Every time you pull money out before $100,000, you're not just losing that amount. You're losing the compounding on that amount forever. $5,000 withdrawn at age 28 isn't $5,000. At 8% over 30 years, it's $50,000. You're not buying a vacation. You're selling your 58-year-old self's financial security. Step 6. Increased contributions, not lifestyle. Every time you get a raise, a bonus, a tax refund, you have a choice. Upgrade your life or upgrade your timeline. Most people do the first. They get a $4,000 raise and immediately increase their rent budget, their car payment, their weekend spending. Step 7. Watch the number like it's a game. This might sound dumb, but it works. Check your investment account once a week. Not to panic when it's down. Not to day trade. Just to watch the number move. When you see it go from $58,000 to $61,000 to $64,000, something psychological happens. It becomes real. It becomes a game you're winning. And when you're $8,000 away from $100,000, you will find that $8,000, you'll sell stuff, you'll skip expenses, you'll take overtime, because you can see the finish line and you know what's on the other side. The people who hit $100,000 the fastest are the ones who are borderline obsessed with the number. And then one day, they check the account and it says $102,000. And they screenshot it, and they feel something shift. Because they just unlocked the compounding machine. Here's the thing. Nobody tells you about the $100,000 threshold because it makes people uncomfortable. If you tell someone the first $100,000 is the most important financial milestone of their life, you're implying that not hitting it is a failure. And we live in a world where everyone's supposed to do what makes them happy and live their truth, and you can't put a price on experiences. All of that is true. You can't put a price on experiences. But you can put a price on financial stress at 67. And that price is usually not having $100,000 invested by the people who cross $100,000 early don't do it by accident. They do it by being temporarily uncomfortable in a way that buys them permanent options. And the people who never cross it also don't do it by accident. They do it by prioritizing short-term comfort over long-term compounding. Neither one is morally right or wrong, but only one leads to net worth that explodes. You've been participating in this game your entire adult life. The only question is whether you're playing it or it's playing you. Let me leave you with one last thought. If you're 30 years old with $100,000 invested and you never contribute another dollar, literally nothing, at 8% average returns, you'll have $1.006 million at 60. $100,000 is the seed money for $1 million retirement without lifting another finger. That's not motivational speaking. That's just compounding over 30 years. So the real question isn't, can I get to $100,000? It's how fast can I get there? Because every year you shave off that timeline is another year of exponential growth on the back end. And the only thing standing between you and the explosion is the decision to treat it like it matters more than anything else until you hit it. Your net worth doesn't explode by accident. It explodes after you cross the one number that makes compounding impossible to ignore. Get there, however, you have to. Because everything, and I mean everything, gets easier after that. If this video clicked something for you, share it with someone who's still grinding toward their first $100K. And if you want to learn how we build content that actually breaks through the noise, the Fininvest Logic community link is in the description. I'll see you in the next one.